Hey guys, Sam here and welcome to another video. Today's video is a little bit different. It's not a FIFA 17 experiment video. At the start of the season, or before the season started, the 2016-17 Premier League season, I made a predictions video. Today we'll be looking through that predictions video, seeing what I got right and what I got wrong. Now I don't remember exactly what I said in that video, but I do know that I got some things very right and I got some things very, very wrong. So we'll look through it, we'll watch it together, and we'll react to it together as well. Let's take a look at what I predicted before the season started. A lot of things change. So if you think I'm an idiot in this video, in this prediction video, I probably am, but a lot of things change. So without further ado, let's hear what I had to say about every single team and where they would finish in the Premier League this season. Right, so going in sections, I'm going to go with the relegation zone first. I'm going to put Hull City in 20th, Bournemouth in 19th, and Watford in 18th. Hull City, I think everybody's going to think that they're going to finish 20th. Bournemouth, they could go either way. I feel like they could do really well or really bad. I just think that there's better teams above them. And Watford is the big one. They've kept both Igalo and Dini so far, but without Quique Sanchez-Flores, I don't know how they're going to do under their new manager. Okay, so I predicted Hull to come 20th because going into the season, they couldn't even field a proper starting 11. They came 18th, so I did get them right. They were the only team in my relegation zone that actually ended up getting relegated. Bournemouth just were amazing this season compared to what I expected from them. And Watford came 17th, so I was pretty close with Watford as well. So Bournemouth is really the only one there that I got extremely wrong. And I'm actually very happy for Bournemouth fans and the club in general. I think it's a fantastic club, Bournemouth, and I really hope they continue doing what they're doing in the Premier League. But as far as the relegation zone, I didn't get it spot on. I got 1 out of 3 in the relegation zone, so I'm not too happy about that. Alright, teams that could be potentially around the relegation zone, I've put Burnley in 17th, Palace in 16th, Middlesbrough in 15th, West Brom in 14th, and Sunderland in 13th. That is the thing I am most ashamed about, is picking Sunderland to come 13th. Sunderland. Why I thought Sunderland come 13th, I have no idea. Well, I'm about to explain it in the video, so why don't I just shut up and let me talk. Burnley, I don't know where their goals are going to come from, despite being tied for the highest scoring team in the championship. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to score goals as easy as they did in the championship, but I rate Sean Dyche and I rate their defensive work. Crystal Palace, I think, after the end of last season, could continue that form. Pardew is past his, as True Geordie say, the honeymoon period. The shittiness of Pardew, I think, is really starting to hit Crystal Palace. How right was I about that? Holy, that was some real shittiness from Pardew. Middlesbrough I've put in 15th because I think they have goals in them and I really rate their transfers. They're going to have Brad Guzan or Victor Valdez in between the sticks. Personally, I'd go with Brad Guzan because of his Premier League experience. I got a lot of shit for that, actually, saying that Brad Guzan should start over Victor Valdez. A lot of people told me I was an idiot for that one. And I guess you were probably right about that. They also have Badagan, who I think is a really good signing, and also Negredo. I put West Brom in 14th because Tony Pulis can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to get relegated. They're defensively very solid, and I think they're going to be fine as they have been over the past several seasons. And Sunderland I've put in 13th, way above where a lot of people would put them. You know, they've always fought with that relegation zone, but I think with David Moyes, a very good appointment. If he could make a few more transfers toward this transfer window ending, I think he can do really well. He does so well at bringing the best out of average players, and Sunderland is full of average players, so I think they're going to do really well this season. I genuinely think they'll be pretty comfortable. Turned out the Sunderland wasn't full of average players, they were full of shit players, and Moyes can't do shit with shit players. I mean, it sounds good what I was saying, and I think Sunderland could have done better this season, but nothing went right for them. Just absolutely nothing, and Moyes, once again, he's showing that Everton really was a big fluke. Right, now we're going to get into the mid-table, the teams that will do okay. You know, they're not going to be near the relegation zone, but they're also not going to be challenging the top 8. And that includes Swansea at 12, Southampton at 11, Stoke at 10, and Everton at 9. I put Swansea at 12 just because I don't know how they're going to do. They're a very wild card team, Swansea. They've lost Gomes, but they've replaced him with Llorente. They like playing with big strikers. They've got Sigurdsson, who's a beast, just a certified beast. I love Gylfi Sigurdsson, it has to be said. I love the man, he's a fantastic player. I put Southampton at 11 because once again, Southampton have to rebuild after losing a couple of their good players, Pele and Sadio Mane. They have a new manager, they've lost Ronald Koeman. They've had to deal with that before, they lost Pochettino. So you would argue that they know how to do this, to rebuild. It's going to be tough again, and I think Southampton will probably have a very average season. Stoke City are always mid-table, so I've just put them in 10th because they're always mid-table. They have a very well-balanced team. They have size, they have strength, strength, they have pace, they have a technical ability, and they have the ability to score goals. I think they've got everything in their team, and they'll be a pretty tough team to break down this season, and I'm going to give them 10. I put Everton in 9th. Now, Everton have got Ronald Koeman, who I do rate, but their transfer window has been very, very anonymous. I mean, they brought in Idris Gueye from Aston Villa, but I don't know how he's going to do in that Everton side. I think Koeman is going to be able to rejuvenate a lot of the players that were missing under Roberto Martinez, because I feel like a lot of them didn't want to play for Martinez anymore. So I think he's going to do really well with the players that were kind of missing last season. Well, I think I pretty much hit the nail on the head with Everton. The only reason I put them in 9th was because I had some other teams a little bit higher up when they probably shouldn't have been that high up. And actually, I put teams above them that really underperformed. But what I said about Everton, I thought was like exactly what happened this season. Other than Idris Gueye, I think I should have probably said that he was a little bit better, but at the start of the season, I didn't really know what to expect from him. As far as those mid-table teams, apart from Swansea, which did struggle for a large portion of the season, and only with their new manager, they ended up getting that 15th spot and being pretty comfortable at the end of the season, which I'm pretty happy about because I do like the new manager, Paul Clement. Other than that, I think the others were pretty close. I was pretty close with this section, and I'm pretty happy with how I did in this section. Now going into the top 8, I'm going to split it up in 2 different sections. Teams that could challenge for top 4, but I don't think will be there at the end of the season, and teams that definitely, I think, will be there at the end of the season near top 4. So pretty much the section where I think they could challenge for top 4, but they're not going to be there at the end of the season, is Leicester at 8th, West Ham at 7th, and Liverpool at 6th. I put Leicester at 8th because I feel like with the more fixtures and Champions League football and travelling, Leicester might struggle. They also are the defending Premier League champions, and historically, especially over the past 5 years, that is not a good title to have. You do not want to be the Premier League champs because usually that means you're going to absolutely capitulate. Well, that's pretty true. I got that pretty much right. Yeah, you do capitulate if you're the Premier League champs. I don't think that's going to happen with Leicester. Not as bad as what happened with United and Chelsea. Even though I think they're going to go from 1st to 8th, I still don't think it's going to be that big of a drop as far as their actual ability on the pitch. Whereas with United and Chelsea, they were playing poor. I think Leicester's still going to be playing good football. They don't have Kante though, and I think that's a major loss. I think that's a bigger loss than either Mahrez or Vardy if they were to go. I think Kante is their biggest loss. That's right. Kante is the biggest loss. I was right. I knew what N'Golo Kante brought to a team right from the get-go. I put West Ham at 7th, and I don't know why I have. You know, I thought West Ham, I'd put them a little bit lower than 7th. Well, you fucking should have, Sam, you moron. Slaven Bilic is now into his 2nd season and understands the Premier League more. So I feel like West Ham are going to be pretty comfortable with a new stadium. It's going to be very atmospheric, and I think West Ham are going to I think they're actually really going to thrive this season. They probably should have. West Ham probably should have thrived this season. It ended up not going that way for West Ham, but I'm sure in the next couple of seasons, they will potentially make that stadium their home. The thing I said about Dimitri Payet was true as well. I think if they had the Dimitri Payet of last season, not this season that just went past, the season before when he was just on point, if they had that Payet this season, and if that whole thing didn't happen with him, they probably would have been a lot higher than where they were. 7th or not, I'm not sure, but they would have been a lot higher. So I think things with West Ham could have gone a lot differently, and they could have finished that high up the table, but they ended up not finishing that high up the table. So I was pretty wrong on West Ham, but no fault of my own. I think at the start of the season, a lot of people said that West Ham would do well in the new stadium. At 6th, I put Liverpool, simply for the fact that their transfer window's been okay. I mean, they brought in Mane and Wijnaldum, all right signings. You know, I think Wijnaldum's going to be a squad player. I think Mane has a chance to start. Obviously, they have Jurgen Klopp, who I think is a fantastic manager, and they don't have European football, so that could affect them. I think they could be a little bit higher. I wanted to put them in the next section, where they'll be at the top 4 at the end of the season, because I think Liverpool will be around the top 4 at the end of the season, but I think right at the end, they won't have a chance of making top 4. But with no Europe, and with Jurgen Klopp, and with a decent core of players, I think they could do something this season. Well, it looked like I was right about Liverpool. They could do something this season. They did end up getting top 4, and they were very close to being part of this next section. They were very close to being part of like a big top 6. I put them with West Ham and Leicester because I really did think right at the end Liverpool were going to struggle. I really thought they didn't have the consistency or the longevity of the other teams, and I truly believed in the last 5 games they would look like they would make top 4 and they would end up not making top 4. And I still really believed that would happen all the way up till the last couple of weeks of the Premier League, where I thought, okay, you know what, Liverpool are probably going to wrap this up and probably take top 4. So I wasn't too wrong on Liverpool. And again, I think I said this in one of my streams. I think they've gotten top 4 pretty much on a technicality because of United's just immense amount of draws. I think that's really what's gotten Liverpool their top 4. I really don't think they were playing like a top 4 team this season. I do believe that they were very hit and miss, not very consistent, and I really do believe that they simply got it on technicality. And you might say that I'm just saying that because I'm a Manchester United fan, but that's honestly how I feel. I feel I'm a very unbiased person when it comes to predicting things and talking about other teams. And I really do believe Liverpool got the 4th place simply for the fact that Manchester United were not able to turn draws that they should have turned into wins, especially the ones at home against lesser oppositions. If they had turned those into wins, Liverpool would not have made the top 4, and that's really what it came down to. Right, here we go. Business end of things. Teams that will be there in the top 4, or around about the top 4, because there's a 5th team at the end of the season. In at 5, I've put Arsenal. Oh, I'm a fucking genius. Ooh, that feels good. Oh my goodness. Arsenal at 5th. Yes, ladies and germs, spot on with Arsenal. I just knew it with Arsenal. I just had that feeling with them that this was the season they would not make top 4. Now, go ahead and tell me I'm a cunt in the comment section below. For me, with Arsenal, it comes down to their signings and their transfer window. And also, they need a striker and a centre-back, and they haven't addressed either of those. This was before Mustafi was signed, actually. So they did address the centre-back thing. They didn't address the striker. In at number 4, I've put Tottenham. Simply because Pochettino is now in his 3rd season. He's understanding the Premier League. They've kept their core players. They've kept Kane. They've kept Eriksen. They've kept Lamela, who was good last season. They've kept Dyer and Dele Alli, both great last season. Their centre-back partnership, I think, is among the best in the Premier League. I think their entire back 4 is very solid, and they have a world-class keeper in between the sticks. There's nothing about this Tottenham team that makes me think that they're not going to make top 4. A lot of people saying that they're going to come 5th, 6th, and all that. I don't think Tottenham are going to be outside the top 4. I think with the team that they have, they can't do much worse than last season. They've only improved. They've brought in 2 pretty savvy signings in Wanyama and Janssen. I think both are very good players. Probably squad players, probably a little bit of depth for Europe, but I think very good players nonetheless. I love what I said about Tottenham. I wish I had backed them a little bit more and put them higher up the table, but everything, I think if there's one, I think maybe Tottenham are the 2nd team that I predicted the best, but if there's something that I said about any team, what I said about Tottenham is what I'm the most happy about, and the thing that I think no one was giving them credit for, and I think they were the team that no one was backing at the start of the season. And I really genuinely believe that this was the one thing that I got very, very right. I did not get one thing wrong about Tottenham other than their position. I said they'd get Champions League football. I didn't back them to get 2nd, simply because I thought some other teams would perform better than them that ended up underperforming. But everything I said about Tottenham was exactly right, and I'm really happy that I backed them to get that Champions League spot. And I'm one of the people that do not hate Tottenham. I think I like Tottenham, to be honest with you, more than I like Arsenal, more than I like Liverpool, and more than I like Manchester City. I like Tottenham, and I'm really happy with what they've done. They're doing football the right way. Everybody complains that people are buying the league. Tottenham is not, and they still get hate. Tottenham is bringing in English talent. Tottenham is bringing in talent from lower leagues, building them into these Premier League beasts, really. Look at Kane, look at Ali. These are beasts in the Premier League now, and people still hate on Tottenham, and I'm really happy about what I said about Tottenham. In at number 3, I've put Manchester City. Now, a lot of people, I think, are tipping City to win the league. I've put them in 3rd because I think the 3 or even the 4 is going to be very close, but I think this top 3 is going to be super duper tight. I've put City in 3rd because I think Pep might adjust to the Premier League a little bit worse than other managers. I think because he's so used to expansive, free-flowing football, he might have a bit of a culture shock when he moves to the Premier League and starts playing with his team. That being said, he has some amazing players in his team. Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, David Silva, Ilkay Gundogan. It just depends on if they can all stay fit, including Vincent Kompany. You know, Aguero and Kompany over the past couple seasons have had consistent injuries, and I don't know how they're going to do this season with the injuries. Also, Ilkay Gundogan, very injury prone. Is he going to be fit throughout the entire season? that's going to make a big difference on where Manchester City end up this season. Manchester City, again, another team, I hit the nail on the head, and I even got the prediction right. They came in third, and I predicted them to come third, so I was really, really happy about that with Manchester City. If there was, I could argue, if there was one team that I predicted even better than I predicted Tottenham, it would be Manchester City, and everybody tipped them to win the league. I thought that they just weren't there yet. I just didn't see them winning the league, and I put them in third. So again, very happy with that. So far with Arsenal, Tottenham, and Manchester City, I've liked what I've said about them, and two of those teams I got exactly right as far as the positioning. In the number 2, I have put Manchester United. I don't know why, this top 3 was very difficult. I think our signings have been absolutely fantastic. I mean, I don't think we've made one bad signing with the 4 that we've made so far. Paul Pogba, world class. Not the best central midfielder in the world, but absolutely world class. And give him a couple seasons and he will be the best midfielder in the world. We brought in Ibrahimovic, who a lot of people thought would be a little bit like Bastian Schweinsteiger, bringing him in as sort of a locker room player to kind of guide the younger players. I don't think so. I think he's the starting striker. He's got the number 9 on his back. He's been playing striker in the preseason. I think he's our main man up top, and I wouldn't have it any other way. He doesn't need his pace. He's an absolute maestro. I got Ibrahimovic spot on. I got Ibrahimovic spot on. I knew it. I love Ibra. For those of you who have watched me for a long time, you know he's one of my favorite players, probably of all time, and I just knew that he would be a beast. I got him spot on, I think. Number 3 was Eric Bailly, a player I didn't know what to expect from him. He's a very good centre-back. He got the man of the match in the Community Shield, because his reckless decisions paid off. But there's going to be times when they don't pay off and he's going to cost us goals. So with Eric Bailly, I'm not really sure. He's very good. He has the capability, but mentally, I feel like he's not there yet as a good centre-back. I think he needs a couple seasons to really develop mentally. Same way that we wanted Chris Smalling to develop mentally. Because physically, Smalling had it, but mentally he didn't. And over the past couple seasons, he's developed extremely well. Hopefully the same thing happens with Bailly. He's got the pace, he's got the strength, and he definitely has the ability and the potential. We'll see how he develops. But most excitedly, and the player I think will have the most impact on our team, is Henrik Mkhitaryan. I think this guy is going to be an absolute beast this season for Manchester United, and I think all 4 signings are going to do very, very well. I have no reason to believe that either of those 4 signings will not do well. Alright, so quickly touching on Bailly and Mkhitaryan. Obviously I talked about Manchester United a little bit longer than I talked about the other clubs, because that is really where I have the most knowledge on football clubs. With Eric Bailly, I think I underrated him a little bit, and I think he's outperformed what I expected and what a lot of people expected from him. He's been an absolute revelation. He's our best defender now, and especially with Smalling's decline, who I just talked about in my prediction video, he's stepped up and he is our best centre-back and probably overall our best defender. So Bailly has been a revelation. Mkhitaryan didn't get played for a bit. Obviously, I didn't know that that would happen when I talked about him, but I still think his impact on the team attacking-wise has been absolutely phenomenal as well. And I think he's a very, very good player. But if I had to swap that, who would be the most influential, I would have swapped Mkhitaryan and Bailly there, obviously. I think Bailly has been the most influential of the 4 signings, and he's been absolutely fantastic. So overall, Manchester United, I put them in second. And look, I really do believe if we had turned some draws into wins, this is how the table could potentially be looking right now. Potentially with City and Tottenham in swapping places. If you'd played like 6 or 7 of our draws, and we ended up winning those, this is how the table could have looked. I really genuinely believe I was not that far off. Liverpool and Arsenal, again, probably would have been switched around as well. But that top 6, I think I did really well with them. I'm not even mad that I put United at second and we ended up in 6th. Because even though it is a massive jump and the point difference between Tottenham and ourselves is huge, I do not believe as a footballing side we were that far off of getting the top 4 or even challenging for the title. Footballing wise, I don't think we're that far off. So I'm not even mad at that prediction. What I said about Manchester United was pretty true. I just happened to put them a little bit higher. Maybe it was high hopes going into the season. Going into the season, a lot of people saying United were going to be in the top 2 or 3, not just me. So I'm not even mad about that one. And how could I be mad when I predicted the champions were going to be the champions? How about that? And then in at number 1, I put Chelsea. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Because the same arguments I made against Pep Guardiola, you can make against Conte. You know, new to the Premier League, Juventus kind of dominated Serie A, then he went on to manage Italy. So, I don't know. Like, you could make the same arguments. But with me, I think the way Conte lines up defensively, bit of counter-attack in his game, I think that suits the Premier League more than Pep Guardiola's expansive passing. I don't know. It could go either way. Conte could either do really well or really badly. He's got really good, in my opinion, very good tactical manager. So that's why I've put him at number 1 with Chelsea, with no European football. Keep that in mind. No European football. And with N'Golo Kante, who I think is a fantastic signing, along with Michy Batshuayi, I think Chelsea are going to win the league. That is it. That wraps up the prediction. Chelsea to win the league. I didn't really talk too much about Chelsea, which is why I actually like what I said about City and Tottenham a bit more than Chelsea, which is, I actually like my prediction of Manchester City in 3rd and Spurs to make the Champions League, and what I said about those teams more, because I said more, and I got more things right with them. With Chelsea, it was a feeling, it was a gut feeling, and I get this thing sometimes where I get that gut feeling, and it's very easy to say that I get that now, that Chelsea have won it, but this happens to me sometimes, even with like match predictions. Sometimes like I'll just get this gut feeling of a score, and sometimes it turns out that that is the score, and more often than not, I see myself like predicting these sort of things. Obviously, it's very easy for me to like completely back myself now, but as you said, as you heard in the video, I didn't really have a reason why. I didn't have a clear-cut reason why Chelsea would win the league. I guess N'Golo Kante could have been one of those, but it was a feeling. I just felt it. Conte is a fantastic tactical manager. I said that. Kante is going to be a very good signing. I said that. And Chelsea won the league, and I said that, and I'm really, really happy. A lot of people, and I got a lot of dislikes on this video. Let me tell you something, right? I got 267 likes. I got 127 dislikes, mainly because people were pretty salty that I didn't predict their team to win the league, or that I predicted someone that they didn't like higher. I expect that a lot of the dislikes were Arsenal fans telling, pretty mad that I said Arsenal wouldn't make it in the Champions League, but they didn't, and I was right. And I'm so happy that, like, most of the things that I said turned out right. I got some things very wrong in the middle of the table, don't get me wrong. This prediction overall was pretty average. I would say a little bit above average, but I predicted Chelsea to win the league. I got Manchester City exactly right. I got Arsenal exactly right. So in the top 5, I got 3 of them and their positions completely correct. And I count Tottenham as a correct prediction as well because of what I said about them and where I put them in the Champions League spot as well. So I'm happy. I'm happy with what I did. Mainly what it comes down to is, like, a lot of people were mad over the prediction, and that's what I don't understand about YouTube. People just get so angry about things like predictions or opinions, and it's really just absolutely fascinating how things, like people saying Chelsea 100% won't win the league, when you really don't know at the start of the season. That's why it's a prediction. And people just completely discounting things like Spurs finishing above Arsenal or anything. People were just absolutely going insane about some small little prediction. And turns out that people were getting mad about things that turned out to happen. So there you go. If you notice, the sun's actually set while I've made this video. So the lighting at the start of this video, if you click at the start and right now, it'll be 2 completely different things. And I don't know if you've even noticed that during the video. But yeah, I don't want to make this video any longer because I'm sure this has gone for a very, very long time. But I wanted to do this. I wanted to react to my Premier League predictions to not only show that I'm very smart, right? And that not all Australians are clueless, that some of us know what we're talking about, or at least sometimes know what we're talking about. But also to show those people that were telling me that 100% this won't happen, no way this happens, you're mad, you're an idiot. I don't even know if they're watching, but just to show that sometimes you should just calm down when someone's giving their opinion. I think that's the moral of this story. Just calm down, and that I'm a genius. Both. They're both facts. Fact 1, you need to calm down. Fact 2, I'm a genius. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll have more FIFA 17 experiments coming out in the near future, but I wanted to make this video, especially considering that the Premier League just wrapped up yesterday, and I can't wait to do another prediction video for the next season. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I hope you had a good day. I'll see you guys in the next one very soon. Keep it real. I'm a fucking genius, man. I am a freaking genius.